Hey, Kim. Hi, Kim. So sorry if you hear my dogs barking outside today. Hi, Denise. Hi, Holly. Hey. Hi, Elizabeth from Arizona. Hi, Amy. Hi, Calming Soul. Hi, Jen. Hi, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. Hi, Billy Joe. I'm doing good. Hope you guys are doing good too. Hi, Gabby. So I was gonna go on Facebook today and do this instead, and I kind of got myself into trouble, and I own up to it because I got in a political argument, and now I'm banned for 7 days. So that was my fault. So, yeah, and I usually don't get into those kind of dilemmas, but I did. So I will do this on live until next week. So I apologize ahead of time. Let's see who's saying hi in here. Hi, Sandy. Yeah, the dogs are always they bark at this the dumbest things. Hi, Rhonda. Hi, Yvette. Hi, Tracy. So, I was thinking when I was before I started this today, I'm thinking, what kind of stories should I tell? Like, I think people want really creepy stuff since it's close to Halloween, and my whole life has been creepy, and I have so many stories, and I just can't think of, you know, um, things just happen around me. It's not like it's like I'm like it just goes. I mean, I can't explain it. It's not like I'm trying to think. Okay, so here's a good one. Here's a good story. Right when I started doing this kind of work, I was, I didn't know much. I was just learning on my own, and I guess that's how you kind of learn. And so this girl, she messages me, and she's all in a frantic, and she's like, Paul, I need you to get to my house. I need help. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, there's just so much going on, and I can't say her name on here, so I'm just going to keep her anonymous in case she's on here right now. And I said, well, can you explain to me what's going on? And she'll say that she's seen orbs, and there's just a whole bunch of paranormal stuff going on in her house. And it was like, I remember I think it might have been fall, or maybe it was sometime at the beginning of winter. I drove down there. It's not too far from my house, maybe a few miles away. And so as I'm going there, I I look at the house. Before I went in there, I connected with my spirit guide, and I'm like, well, this lady needs some help. What do I need your backup. Tell me what to do. And it warned me. It says, be careful. This is what you're dealing with. It's not something that's good for you. And I go, what do you mean? And it says, well, just make sure you're holding on to your blessed rosaries when you're walking in there, and you'll understand. But just be really careful. And it was kind of giving me a warning because there was something evil in that house. And as I started to go, I knocked on the door. The lady answered, and she was in tears, and she was all upset, obviously. And I said, "What's going on?" And she goes, "Well," she's talking frantically. I can remember her, and she's like, "Well, come in the living room and take a seat, and just tell me if you experience anything." She didn't really tell me what was going on. So I said, "Okay," just it was kind of quiet, and I'm just waiting for something to happen. Well, when I walked in the house, it was just a different vibe. I felt like there was a lot of spirits in that house. So I did a read on it. I said, "How many spirits are in this house?" And it said 16. And I thought that was a lot for that house. And I'm like, "Holy cow!" And it said, "What's in that house was a poltergeist." And I'm like, "Oh shoot!" So I knew that with the warning it gave me, I had to be careful because it was probably some of that was demonic. So I asked her. I said, "Well, can I walk around the house to see if I can pick up on anything and tell you what's going on?" And then, when you look at the house, it's like a regular house, but when you go walk in the house, it's just sorry, I'm having problems right now with the internet. But something caught my attention, so I looked over to the corner of my eye and I saw a cat's tail, like a black cat's tail, like moving by the computer, like behind the computer. I said, "You have cats?" And she goes, "Yeah, but the cat I have is locked up." And I said, "Well, I just saw a cat's tail over there." And she goes, "That's the stuff you see around here all the time. You see all that." She goes, "You'll see orbs flying around here all the time. You'll see it's always something going on. There's always something crazy going on." And I said, "Can I go look to see where that cat's at?" And she goes, "Sure." So I looked behind there, and there was no cat. I looked everywhere, and I could not find no cat. I walk into these things being skeptical also. So, I thought that was kind of odd. So as I'm walking, each room, it seemed like it was in these halls, had a different feeling to it. And I would tell her that, and I would say, "This is what's going on in this room, and this is what somebody would be experiencing in that room." And she confirmed all of it. She's like, "Exactly, this is exactly what's going on." Um, but I didn't have anything weird going on until later on during when I started talking with her. I'm trying to remember exactly what. Just seemed the whole house just seemed really off. I remember there at the end of one of the halls, it was like a mirror that was sitting there. Um, and I remember looking at that mirror, and I'm looking, there's something not good with this mirror. You need to make sure you do something with this mirror, or you need to close it, because I feel like something, if there's a portal or something's going on with this mirror, I feel like I'm being watched. Um, she would tell me that her dogs. Well, here's the weird thing. When I walked in there, she had like 3 or 4 dogs, and usually dogs would bark and be excited to jump on you or to let you know they're around. These dogs were very lethargic when I walked in the very first time. They didn't budge or anything, which I thought was kind of odd. And they were like in the sunroom outside. Anyway, so we sat back down, and before we sat down, my pen was in the middle of the floor. My notebook was wide open, and I didn't do that. And I said, "There's somebody else in this house?" And she goes, "No." And I go, "Look, there, my pen's right in the middle of the floor. It's like something's trying to like, get my attention or mock me." And she goes, "That's nothing compared to the stuff that goes on around here all the time." So I said, "Okay." So I said, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to, and I should have done this. I mean, I should have just connected with my spirit guide, and she probably should have just called a priest or something. But I said, we're going to go and smudge the house, because we're going to smudge it. We're going to pray, and I'm going to have you smudge it, and I'll do the prayers, and we're going to walk around." And walking around this entire house, it gets kind of all weird. Um, Hi, people. Sorry if everybody's just showing up. Hi. So, anyways, it just gets all weird, and trying to remember how it went down. It just got really strange. So we go outside. Okay, because I told her, I said, "There's stuff outside. I feel like there's stuff out there that's coming in." I go, "We need to go first, go around the outside, and let's do some smudging in person." So we go outside. She remembers shutting the door, and I remember her shutting her door right after I left. Well, um, anyways, as we're going walking around the property, there's night lights out there, and you could see these little dark creatures. I don't know what they were. They were climbing up the tree, and you look and you can find them. And I'm like, "This is so weird." And you could see weird things moving in the dark. And this is the first time I've ever experienced a poltergeist, but it was crazy for me. And as we're going, we went back. We were going to the house. Well, she freaked out, and I go, "What's going on?" She goes, That door was. I swear, I shut it." And I go, "You did shut it, because I remember you shutting it when we left." And she goes, "It's wide open. I don't understand." And I go, "Oh, that's just great." So we go back in the house, and the energy in there right above that time just seems like it picked up even more. I look, I'm getting drawn to the walls, and she had pictures all around the walls. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Mary. And she had pictures all around the walls, and all these pictures were all like either turned upside down, or they were, instead of like a picture being normal, they were all tilted. Now, there was 2 things I thought was really strange about that. Besides that, anyway, there was one picture of a demon. Hi, Renee. There's a picture of a demon that somebody drew like art. Excuse me. And I look at that picture, and I looked at her, and I go, "Do you not see I mean, look around these walls. Because there's something not right with you." She goes, "Oh, this happens all the time. I'm always fixing those pictures." I go, "No." I go, "When I came in early, the pictures were up nicely. I mean, um, but that demon picture, it's the only one that's not crooked. All the other ones are crooked or turned upside down." And then she goes, "Oh, I never noticed that." I go, "What's going on? Why do you have a picture of a demon up there? That's like a drawing of a demon." And then she tells me what happened was, her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend that died was a tattoo artist, and so she always liked that picture. She put it up there. And there was also a mask, a weird-looking mask in that house that didn't do anything to it. But so I told her, I said, between that mask and that picture of that demon, that is, that's, those that poltergeist, those little demons, that's their ego. They're trying to say, that's us. That's who we are, because all the other pictures were all turned, but that one wasn't. And I thought that was really weird. I instructed her to do something with that picture. I said, "You need to put it away, or do something with it." And she goes, "Well, I don't want to do anything with it, because it's my boyfriend's picture, and I can't tell her what to do." And I said, "Okay, well, demons or whatever you want to call it, keep bugging you." So I don't know. I don't think she ever did take that picture down. Well, it's just, what else happened? So anyways, we start going up. Okay, there was a garage, and then there was like an upstairs, like where you can put stuff. Well, as we start going up there, I said, "What's up here?" And she goes, "Just a whole bunch of boxes of antiques and stuff." And I said, "I feel like I'm being drawn up here. I think something's up here." So we go up those stairs above the garage, um, in the garage loft, and there's all these I mean, not chairs, all these boxes everywhere. But there was one chair sitting there, and I looked at that chair and I knew something was on it. And I said, why is that chair sitting there? I go, I know there's something on it. I know it for a fact. Well, she told me that when her boyfriend would get depressed, he would go up on that chair and sit there. And I said, you hear banging going on and moving stuff up here all the time. She goes, all the time. And that was just validation that she knew that. And she goes, that's not my boyfriend. I go, it's not your boyfriend. I guarantee I know it's not. It's something demonic. So as we're, it was very demonic. It was like, like a reptile when it hissed at you. It was like that, but it was loud. And we both looked at each other and I go, "Did you hear that?" She goes, "Yeah," because it was something on that seat when she was smudging it. And so I started saying some Catholic prayers, and I said, "Let's get out of here." We went back downstairs, and at that time my rosary that was blessed was broke, and I don't know how if it was me because of my nerves or if something did something to that rosary, and that really bothered me. That kind of got me weird about that. So I went home and I fixed it and I blessed, I put holy water on it and everything, but I connected with my spirit guide and I said, "Did any of this come home with me?" And it said, "No, I was safe." But it warned me that if I do this, if I go into a house like this, I mean, I could, because since I am a medium, I'm always open that these things can jump in me, or they follow me home, or I can get an attachment. So, yeah, that was pretty. That blew my mind. That was like one of my scariest things in my life that I had experienced, and I was dumb, and I should have known better. But now I do know. It was a learning experience, I guess. When I was younger, a lot of times these little poltergeist things would happen to me, like in junior high or high school. I think it was I'd be laying in bed and I could hear something moving in my bedroom, and I'd turn on the light and things would be moving around, or I mean, something to be not where it was supposed to be, or something was falling. And to me, I always thought that was normal, but it wasn't. Oh yeah, so somebody's asking, do I send it a priest? So I'm sorry about that. I'll go back to that story. Yeah. So I did connect with my spirit guide and I told her what she had to do. And I said, this is what you have to do. And if you don't follow what your spirit guide's saying, I can't help you. I can't come back here again. And I told her, if I come back here again, my life is in jeopardy. My spirituality is in jeopardy. I can't do it. Because as a medium, all I am is a messenger. It's all I am. I'm nothing more. And she goes, okay, okay. And so I said, there's a priest in my town that works with, the supernatural. So I told her, you need to call him and he'll come out here and probably bless the place. So before that happened, I did my pen started going and the reading started going, and it said and I said, okay, so there is one demon that's really strong here that's controlling the other spirits or the other entities in this house. And what I need you to do, there's, what did it say? It was a silver um, candlestick, and it's in one of those boxes upstairs. And she goes, "You know how many boxes are up there with antiques?" I go, "I don't know." I go, "But that's between you and if you want this thing out of here, you got to get rid of that. And what you got to do is you got to put it in salt and then take it to the mountains and bury it. And then you got to call that priest, and the priest will come out and do what he's got to do." So I think her roommate was going to go hunting that time, and so she had like a 5 gallon bucket and she filled it up with salt and told him to bury it, and I guess he did. But by then the priest came out and put some holy water on it and got rid of it. But she told me it took her a long time to find that silver, we call it candlestick, and it was way back in the corner with a whole bunch of other stuff. And but but she said as soon as the priest came and blessed and the candlestick was gone, the house was quiet for a while, maybe 3 or 4 months, and then she messages me again. And I said, "Did you follow what the priest told you?" She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "You going to church like he asked you to do?" And she goes, "Yeah, but not as much as I wanted to." And I go, "What do you want from me?" I go, "I don't know what else I can do for you. I mean, what I told you is what you're supposed to do. If you're not supposed to do what he told you, then I can't help you." I go, "You have a gift, and when you're angry, if you're using alcohol or drugs, and you're abusing yourself, and you're depressed like you are, you're opening yourself up, and that energy is going out there, and it's attracting these bad spirits that are coming in your house, which is a poltergeist." I go, "I can't. I've told you everything that you needed to do and how to control it." and the priest did too. And if you can't do that, I can't. I'm not. I can't do anything else. Years went by, and she messaged me, and I forgot about who she was, and I looked and I saw her picture. Well, she goes, "Can you look at this video?" And I said, "Sure. What's going on?" So when I'm watching the video, it's like it's in the dark, and she's with her family, and you can tell it's the Fourth of July because you can hear the fireworks going off way out in the because she lives out in the rural area, and I think she was trying to the video shoot the firecrackers or fireworks. Well, then all of a sudden we could hear this really deep gruntal growl, and it was long. And when I heard that, I kind of got sick and I got the chills. And I messaged her and I said, I don't want to hear that again. I said, what is going on? And she goes, I don't know. She goes, I think it's in this house. I go, it's not in this house. It's on you. And then she goes, what? And I go, that is on you. You go, that's on you. That's what it is. I go, I don't know what to tell you. I go, call that priest again. I can't do anything else after this. If I keep getting involved, it'll start messing with me, and I can't do that. But that really creeped me out, and it was almost like hearing a lion, but it's like really like that lion when they growl. It's like gruntle. It's really deep and it's animalistic. It was creepy. I hope she listened to me too. I don't know. She didn't live in the woods. She kind of lived outside of my small town. It's not too far. I'm out maybe about 8 miles from here. It's like a little rural area. It's not really woodsy out there, but kind of out by herself, and some other houses out there. Um, yeah, it was something that I wouldn't want to ever go through that again. That was so weird. Um, I went home and I prayed and I did everything I could to protect myself because I didn't want to go through that again. And I have been through that before, something similar, but not as bad as that with people. I've learned anymore if people want me to go to their house to do readings for them, I always double check with my spirit guide because I get some people will lie and try to get me there. And it's happened to me a few times when there's something evil or something that I shouldn't be going into, and I walk myself into it. So, oh, sorry, my dogs are barking. Yes, if you guys want to subscribe, just subscribe down below where it says subscribe, and you can always find me on here and you subscribe, please. Sorry about that, my dogs are barking. So, anyway, to go back to that story, can't remember what I was going to say now. Hi, Michelle. Yeah, puppies can see it. My dogs are just seeing somebody walking by the fence. They overreact every time. But when I was little, Kim says she was little, she could see spirits, but it scared her, so she said shut it down. She wants to know if she can open it back up. I feel energy, but I don't. Yeah, you're part of what the gift you have is an impact. Most people who have gifts are empaths. So I would suggest always staying with God and praying with God. Make sure you're always praying to God, but also learn to meditate. When you meditate, that gift comes back stronger, Kim. That's what I would suggest. Oh, you want to see my puppies? Let me see here if I can get them on here. There they are. That one right there, the one at the tail right there, that's Prince. He's the puppy. And this one over here, he's 16 years old. That's the Jack Russell. And this right here is the Rat Terrier. Yeah, they're good dogs, but they're like night and day. One loves to be inside, one likes to be outside. One doesn't like to bark, one will bark. One like you can get his attention with toys. The other one you have to get his attention with food. Yeah, they're very smart animals. But yeah, so, oh yeah, so I was gonna say, so what will happen is when people will call me and say, hey, can you come to my house and do a reading for me, or can you come to my house and schedule like a cleansing, which is fine, but I'll connect with my spirit guide before I do that because there's been two times where I'll walk into somebody's house and the lady's saying, we'll sit down when I was doing a reading, and the phone will ring, and it's her, like for instance, it'll be her abusive husband calling because he's jealous and he's calling every 5 minutes. And I looked at her and I said, I shouldn't be here. And she goes, oh, why? I go, you're supposedly breaking up with your husband or your divorced husband, and all of a sudden you want me to be here when I'm doing a reading? That's not good. And he's calling like that. That stuff can get dangerous. I don't want to be part of that. That's happened to me twice. The other time was something similar to that too with the jealous husband. Another time, a mother called me, and she's like, "Paul, can you come and do a reading for my family? Just sounding all sweet and everything." And I didn't think much of it. Um, I said sure, and I remember right before I got out of that car, I got a weird feeling, so I checked with my spirit guide and it said, "You be careful. There's a demon in there." And I hate that feeling. If you ever had a feeling, if you know what that feeling of a demon is, or something that you'll never forget, then it was a very strong demon. So, anyways, as I'm going to the house, as my foot goes on the first step, like right before the threshold, I can feel that energy kicking in, and it's an energy of fear. It's an energy of that you just don't want to be, like, you don't want to be alive. It's an energy. It's very dark. It's very depressing, and it's very thick. And so she opens the door, and I didn't want to scare her at first. And so I'm sitting down with the family, and at one point I just had to look up at him and I said, "There's something in this house that you guys know is here." And I said, "So I'm going to ask you some questions." I said, "So when you guys all wake up at 3 in the morning?" And they all said they all do. And then she says that grandfather clock over there goes off and it's not even plugged in. And there's parts of it that's missing. But it's always, only time it goes off is at 3 in the morning. Everybody wakes up and they can't go back to sleep. There's always three knocks. I think the dad said he saw a black shadow, a really tall black shadow, walk through the kitchen. Remember what else was going on there? Everything that they were talking about was always three, so I knew what it was. It was demonic. And so, and I think one of their daughters was scratched, the three, and had threes on them. So, anyways, we have the two daughters, the husband and the wife sitting there, and I'm doing the reading. And as I'm looking at one of the daughters, and I said, "You're the one that brought in. You're the one that opened up the portal." And then she's like, looks at me, and she gets kind of teary eyed. I go, "What? Were you playing with the Ouija board?" And she admitted that she did. And the spirit guide said that what she was playing with was, when she was playing with that Ouija board, she opened up a demon that she saw online. Hi, Terry. Yes, it was like nauseous and dread. It's a really creepy feeling, Sandy. You're right, but it was. But the spirit guide said, she opened up a portal. She was playing with the Ouija board, and she conjured up a demon that she saw online. It was, and I don't want to say the name, and I knew what the name was, and it scared me when I heard it. And I'm like, I don't. I told her, I don't want to hear it no more. And the house was very depressed. And I walked in there, very thick. Well, one room, they thought that there was a spirit in there, and I walked in there, and I knew it wasn't there. But I remember sitting down trying to do a reading on it, and I got up. And well, I came back in that room, and there was a thermometer sitting there where I was sitting that wasn't there before, which I thought was weird. So again, here we go, getting my attention again. So the dad kind of looked at it kind of weird and looked at me, and I'm like, and he goes, "Is this normal here?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, this stuff happens." An embarrassment for him but I already know because spirit guides are going to tell me. So we sat back down, and I looked at the mom and I said, "This is what's going to have to happen. You're going to have to find that board or whatever she's using, take it up to the mountains again, bury it with salt, and don't burn it, don't rip it up. You do that, it's going to make it worse for her." And the mom goes, I don't think the mom or the family was very religious, but they said, "Okay, we're just going to start reading the Bible together." And I go, "If that works, that works, but you got to get rid of this." So the dad got really, was upset, and he goes, "Okay," he goes, slams his hand down, and he goes, "I'm taking that thing out and I'm burying it tomorrow, right in the morning. I can't deal with this anymore." So I guess that's what happened, and I guess the mom and the family started reading the Bible more. Well, right before that happened, during that reading, part of the reading, that girl that was doing the Ouija board asked me, she goes, "Is it okay if I practice witchcraft?" And I said, "What kind of witchcraft?" And she goes, "Wiccan." And I said, "If I were you at this time, I wouldn't mess with anything spiritual for a while unless it's of God. Maybe later on in your life, but right now you got too much going on and something could be coming around you and pretending to be something again. I wouldn't want to be opening anything up, so just be careful." Um, I'm trying to think what else, but that was a weird house too. The Trying to think, when I was going around the house and I was blessing the house with some holy water, that girl's bedroom was, it was the worst. It was like I could feel it, um, and I kept looking at the cupboards and I couldn't stop looking at the cupboards, and I think that board was in there, but it was so thick, and she had mirrors like all around her bedroom. But she would tell me that night she would always have something always happen to her, like her bed would shake, or she was always being stared or pulled on a lot. Sorry, I'm seeing people right. I'm seeing it here. So Billy Joe, I wouldn't worry about if you're waking up at 3:30 every morning if it's something demonic. I'd worry about it if things are happening in threes, like if you're hearing taps, knocks at like three taps or three knocks around you, your lights are flickering three times. You're waking up at 3 in the morning, you're getting scratched, and there's other, you can feel that house if you've got something dark in there. Sometimes when you're waking up at that time, it's more of just because it's a spiritual development thing too, and I get that too with quite a bit of people. So I wouldn't worry unless it comes into threes. Thanks, Carla. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it then if it doesn't if things don't happen like in threes all the time. That's when you want to worry. It's like three scratches, three taps, or three knocks. The lights flickering three times, and what that means is it's the demonic, and they're basically making fun of the Trinity. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So that's why it's always the threes, and that's how you know it's a demon because that's what they use to get people's attention and to scare people and to bring their will down. And their I don't know, they just want to scare them so they can use that energy, and at the same time, that's why some people get possessed. They they get so depressed and so scared that they put their spirituality, everything's down, and that's an easier way for those things to jump in. And I think there's the Catholic priests. There's a certain words that they call. There's repression. I think there's three of them before it becomes before it becomes possession. I think there's I don't know. I don't remember the names, but I know those ones repression, and then there's um, possession. And people don't think there's demons. For me, I can say there are demons out there. They're very demons are very real. Um, it is the witching hour. Some people in the psychic world would call it the hours between 9 and 6 a.m. in the mornings, the psychic hours, and that's usually when a lot of psychic stuff happens. That's where people's houses, if your house is haunted, that's when the time is when it's going to usually happen. A lot of weird things happen around your house between 9 p.m. and 6 in the morning because that's dark. Um, you know, that's kind of weird though. But yeah, that's a lot of that stuff that's happened during those times. Sandy's absolutely right. It's low vibration. So when low vibration and high vibration is spiritual. So lower vibration, spiritual lower vibration is like being drunk, being high, having any kind of addiction, being just you don't care about anybody. You're just always depressed, always down, self-loathing. It's that energy. You know what I'm talking about if you've ever been there. Now, higher vibration is like when you laugh, when you pray, when you get that Holy Spirit, that feeling in your spirit, everything. That's higher vibration, and that's what I usually try to work with. Was when I pray, I meditate, and I get my vibration up. So when I connect with spirit, that's where I go with. I go up here. I don't ever work down here, and I don't work on lower realm spirits or earthbound spirits. The only time I'll ever work with the earthbound spirit is if they need me to cross over, and that's about it anymore. Well, Billy Joe, don't get scared. I am Catholic too, but if you get scared, these things, if these spirits, these earthbound spirits, these malevolent spirits, these demonic, it's almost like they sniff the fear. They look for the fear. They want to scare people. And if you don't show fear, if you don't have fear within you, then they won't bother you. And if you keep praying and believing in God and trusting Him, you won't have fear. The Bible talks about that all the time. And I think, like when I walk into these houses that have demons or poltergeists in them, I will check myself before I walk in there because I know if I walk in there, it's going to go for the weakest link. And if it's known, and it may test me, and they do test me. Like that time when I put that demon put the thermometer on that chair, or that when at that other house when my pen and my pad were in the middle of the floor, they were testing me to see how I was going to react. And I just picked it up and act like, and I wasn't really scared. I was more in shock, but I wasn't scared because I meditated prior to that, which when I knew meditating doesn't make you scared either. And I had my trust in God, so I knew I was okay. But if you go into stuff like that being scared, yeah, they sniff it out like hounds, and they can follow you, and they'll pick on you. I believe that Carol works up. Carol says she wakes up at 1:11 and she thinks it's the universe telling her something. I do believe in that. Thanks, Heidi. So if you guys are new on this page, please subscribe below. Right below there says subscribe. Just click the button. That way you guys can always find me. I'm gonna probably be doing a few more of these on YouTube, unfortunately, because like I said earlier, my Facebook account got, I'm in Facebook jail for a week because I argued and I shouldn't have argued, and somebody reported me. So I'll admit to that. That was being a bad boy. I guess I have to learn one of these days. And I guess there's no excuse for me being that way. I am very, if you guys know me, I'm very upfront, and I'll call people on their bull crap. I don't let people get away with a lot of stuff. Yes, Billy Joe, start praying and just having a relationship with God. If you don't want to go to church, open up a Bible and just read about God or something. You just gotta, just whatever that relationship is, you can meet God up. Some people find God in the ocean. Out in the ocean, they find God out in the mountains. You can find God in church. You can find God in synagogue. You just know where He's at. It's where God is going to be. God and the Holy Spirit, are one. I found God many times in the mountains. I found God at the beach too. I believe in that. He's everywhere. Let's see if I got anything other weird things going on I can remember to tell you about. Um, just trying to think here. I have so many stories though. Honestly, I mean, if I go on a story, I can go on, and it'll just go from one story to the next. They've all kind of have something. But I don't want us to. I don't want to say too much about any more scary stories until next week. I mean, so I want to save some of them for next week as well. But I'm just trying to think of some of the weird stuff that's happened to me over the years, and I've had a lot happen to me. I remember I had a roommate one time, and I he would he was one of those guys. I mean, he didn't do much. I mean, I think he worked a part-time job, whatever, to get by and just pay rent. But there was always something off about him, and I would tell him, I go, "Are you like messing around with something you're not supposed to?" And he goes, "No." And I go, "I'm not trying to accuse you. I'm just asking you because I'm getting this weird vibe from you." He goes, "No, me and my friends, we played what's it called, Dungeons and Dragons, and I guess some religions say it's bad. I don't know. I never played it, so I don't know if he was ever telling me the truth or if he was messing with something." Well, one time, I just got home from work and I was tired, and I woke up. Like when you're awake, but your eyes are closed. I felt somebody poke me really hard on my back. Well, my eyes opened up, and I knew. And then in your head, you're thinking, okay, well, maybe it was just half a dream or I was, something. But it did it again. I jumped out of that bed really quick. I ran out and I yelled at him. I said, "You can eat." I go, "You brought something in this effing house and you got to get it out." I go, I can't deal with this crap. I go, I come home from my work and I'm tired. I come here and I have to deal with this crap. I don't want it around me. I knew he knew because the look on his face. He wasn't even trying to deny it. And he goes, I'll try to find a way of getting rid of it. And I go, "You better." Well, he moved out, but I think he left that entity in that house for a while. And, in my living room, you have those, what do you call those candles with have lids on them? Well, I think it was like, I don't remember what time it was, like really early in the morning. I just heard that lid off that candle just go up in the air and hit the table, and it woke me up. And I thought that was weird, you know. Um, but I'm too tired, so I don't want to deal with it. And it always seemed to happen like really early, like late at night or early, right before I wake up in the morning. So things were weird going on in my house around that time, like right early in the morning. I have these pots and pans that are hung up on my wall. Okay, that like what do you call it? I don't know what they're called, but it's like a rack, and you can hang up your pots and pans, and it's kind of stylish, but it hangs up on my wall. Well, I think it was about 7 or 8 in the morning. I heard this big crash. And I'm like, holy cow! Well, my poor dog, my older dog, he can hear good now, but back then he was just, he was a lot younger and he could hear better. He wouldn't get up. He stood there and he was terrified. So I got up, and those pots and pans were all on the ground. It's like somebody lifted up that rack because they were in there. They're like there's a bolt in there, and you have to put it on there. And the only way to get it off is if you lift it up and pull it out. Well, that rack was on the ground. All those pots and pans, a lot of them were like all dented up. I was so mad. And I said, "If you want to fight, I'm going to give you a fight," and because that's what it wanted. This spirit was very destructive, so I went to my Catholic church, and asked for holy water, and I got a big old bottle of it. I went back home, grabbed some salt. I put a ton of salt in a spray bottle, and I shook it up just like I was talking to my page about how about spraying salt water works. I went through my whole house, and I pushed it out, and I made sure it got out. I smudged the house. I salt watered all my walls because I know some of these things like to hide in walls. and I hooked the holy water, and I did all these prayers. Well, as I'm going out that day to get ready to go to work or wherever I was going, sorry, my dogs. So as I was going to leave, my neighbor, she gave me these plants that you can hang up on, on your ledge of your house or something. And I had that there, back there on my garage. Well, as I'm walking out, that thing's just all smashed out on the ground. And if you see my yard right here, I mean, you have to go into my yard to do that. And that just told me right there that that thing was so pissed off that it walked out of here and just pulled that down and smashed it. That's how angry it was. But I couldn't have it in my house, and I fought with it to get out, and I finally got rid of it. When it left my house, it was a lot clearer. I knew it got out because I can walk around the house and didn't have that feeling in there anymore. But whatever he did, he left something in that house. And I don't know if he had his friends over and they were playing a Ouija board or if they were summoning something, but that was not there when I lived in this house. My whole life, I mean, not my whole life, but I lived in this house for about 12 years. I would have known, I would have felt something. I've got my gift, I would have felt it. But I know he had a mess. He was doing something to bring that in. It was invited. And I had to push it out. And I was so angry. I was so mad over that. But yeah, when you do that, when you're doing this stuff, you have to reclaim your own house. And I pushed that. I think it was just a malevolent spirit, but I wasn't gonna have it around me. When you have something that just touches you out of the blue, it scares you. I mean, even as a medium, they'll do that to scare me, or to test me. But yeah, that's scary. But I don't. I still try to get my composure, because they're testing me to see if I'm gonna get scared and what else they're gonna do to me. So yeah, I've had that happen. I've had spirits grab my leg, poke me. I felt like I was choked one time. That was a weird feeling. See, I usually just poked and pulled is what I've been going so far. Nothing too creepy, thank God. But yeah, they'll do stuff just to test you though, to see where your fear is, and then they're gonna play off of it. So if you can try not to be too scared or show too much fear, then they don't bother you. But the thing about them is that then they may or may not know, because I've had this gift that I've experienced a lot of stuff. So a lot of these things don't bother me. I know it would probably scare like a lot of people, but that stuff doesn't really scare me as much as a lot. Doesn't make me jump out of my skin. What scares me are the sociopaths of this world, the narcissists, the serial killers, those kind of people, because they have two sides to them, and you don't, when you read about them and what they do, those are the kind of people that scare me. Those are the dangerous ones. And spirits, I can work with my spirit and figure out what's going on and work with that, but people sometimes can be unpredictable. Elizabeth, if you're using salt to get rid of a spirit, who cares if the spirit's angry at you? You need to get rid of it. Yeah, I got locked out. That time it was my fault, Marianne. I was arguing, and I own up to it. That was my fault. Okay, there's somebody on here trying to be a troll, so I'm just gonna have to get him out. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, Marianne, the full moons are really known. A lot of weird things happen, especially this time of year. I totally agree. I used to work at the youth jail for 19 and a half years, and and it's true. A lot of times it would be really quiet, but when we knew it was a full moon, that's when a lot of the crazy stuff happened. Like the kids who had crazy problems would go crazy, and it was very stressful. Um, and I've had experiences. Oh, I've got experiences about that. Hi, Marjorie from Los Angeles. Yeah, Prince was here earlier. Yeah, I have to squeaking. That's my dog. So when I used to work at the jail, here's you do get some you get some creepy stuff going there. Sometimes these spirits are attached to these kids. They're attached to people. Sorry, the squeaky toy is my dog. He's a puppy. He's always squeaking that toy. Um, but we had this. Oh gosh, we had just crazy stuff going there. I remember one time we had this boy that came in, and he was from miles. I mean, from the other side of Montana. I don't know why he came to our jail. There was a jail in Missoula, which is closer. But anyway, he was in my day room one time, and I don't remember how the conversation gets brought up. But anyway, he goes and tells me, he goes, well, I thought he was just lying. Some kids just lie to make up stuff. Well, he's telling me, he goes, Paul, he goes, I really hate my mom or something. I go, why would you hate your mom? And he goes, because once a week I have these priests come and they do an exorcism on me, and it hurts. It's really horrible. And I said, why would you think you need to get an exorcism? I mean, and he told me that he, you know, played with a lot of the black magic, the Ouija boards and stuff, and he supposedly got possessed. And I go, is it off of you? And the kid looked at me straight in the eye and he goes, I don't know. Which kind of creeped me out. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, these kids, always talk and say things anytime to get your attention. Well, I was at the pod area of the jail, and I was the only one at the pod. And when you're at the pod, you're stuck doing cell checks, checking on kids every 15 minutes. So as I'm going down one of the mods, I think it was mod 3, he was all the way at the end. And I went down there, and he was reading a book, or I think he might have been sleeping, but I remember that. Well, I go back to the end of the pod, and I never had that. It says this encounter happened to me before. Well, anyways, I am standing there at the pod, and all of a sudden I feel like something's rushing up behind me, um, and I can feel it coming up at me, and I'm afraid, and I can feel the fear, and I look back and nobody's there. Well, by then I'm like, I look at the time, I'm like, oh, my time's up. I gotta go do my next check. Well, I go down to that, and I kind of creep to the end of that hall, and that kid is just looking at me through that window like he wants to tear into me, and that freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, I know that was demonic. That scared the crap out of me. Another time, oh god, we had a lot of kids in that place that had weird stuff going on with them. We had this girl, this poor girl. Her backstory was her mom and dad didn't really care much about her when she was growing up, and so they lived in this trailer, I think, and I guess the report said there was a lot of spray paint cans, and aerosol cans all around the house, um, laying around outside and inside the house, like which tells just says that the parents are probably sniffers and they were probably doing drugs and everything. Well, that poor girl, I did feel bad for her, but it just got, she comes into her jail. I remember what she did to get in jail, but she got into the jail, and I was sitting in church one time, with the kids, and the pastor was there, and that girl kept interrupting the pastor, and she was asking questions like, um, how did she? I'm trying to remember exactly how she boarded that one, and the pastor he just kind of stepped back and looked at her like he knew. She said something like something about God. She goes, there's no God, and then he looked at her, and she's like, well, I think everybody should be able to write and do what they want. There's no God. And he looked at her, and his eyes got really big, and he's like, he wouldn't even feed into her because I think he knew what she was. So when she got out of there, she looked at me, and she said this like, "Is there a dentist around?" And I said, "Well, I can set something up for you." And then she kind of had this weird talk, like she was talking like a doctor, saying something like her bicuspid, something number blah 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 it was infected. And I looked at her. I'm like, "Okay, hi Judy." So we sent her back to her cell. Well, when she's in that cell, she's always acting weird. We'd sit there and watch her, and she was always having a conversation with somebody that's not there. You could look at her eyes, and her eyes would move with whoever that's what she's talking to. Well, of course, people just jump to conclusions. Well, she's got mental illness. I do believe she had mental illness, but I think there was something else going on with her. Well, she leaves, and she comes back, months later, a couple months later. And when she came back, I heard what happened was she called the police. Well, the girl was pregnant and she had a baby, by the way. Well, she called the police, and the police responded because she was saying her dad was molesting her. Well, the police knock on the door. They go in there and talk to the dad and talk to her. Well, what happens was there was boiling water on the stove, which was, I guess she was making macaroni. Well, she grabs the boiling water and she throws it at the cop's face, just out of the blue. So the cops ended up taking her down, bringing her to our jail. We had to book her in. I'm like, oh, great. Now we're going to have her for a while because she just assaulted a cop. It's like, oh, this is going to be a fun one. And there'd be, when at nights in the evening, she would hackle like an evil witch, and it would just echo down that hall. And then she would scream this bloody murder. I felt bad for her. I did, but at the same time, I knew that there was some evil that jumped in that girl because that poor girl had a shitty life, and I knew something jumped into her because of that. She let her guard down, and she became open, and it was unfortunate. Um, she wouldn't ever talk to staff. She was always quiet. But when you would do your cell check, she was always talking to somebody that wasn't there. And we put her in the cell in the day room. You could sit there, watch her by herself, and she'd be just having a normal conversation and laughing, like somebody was talking with her. Well, we have a courtyard, and in this courtyard, there's a fence, and on top of the fence, there's a fence on the top, like on the ceiling, and it's a high fence, and it's hard to get up there. And it's hard to explain unless you look at it. There's no possible way for anybody to climb up there. Well, one of my coworkers, she goes, "Can we put this girl out in the courtyard?" And I didn't get a good feeling for her, and I said, "Only if you sit there and watch her, because I don't trust her." Well, that girl wasn't paying attention or she was doing her checks. Well, she came back, and she said within less than a minute, that girl was hanging from the top of that fence, like on her pinky, and she was just sitting there laughing. And we were looking at her. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what? How do you get up there like that quick?" And there's no way. I've never, no, all my years, I've never seen a kid do that. There's no way. And we all even we go back and try to see how a kid get up there. You can't get up there. Um, so I had to stack up all these stackable chairs to get way up there in that fence to pull her, to help her get her down. And that there was no way. I mean, it just blew my mind. She ended up assaulting a couple staffs at that place, punching them in the face. I felt bad because she came back from court one time, and the staff asked her how she was doing, and she punched the staff. And the girl started crying because she says, I'm sorry, that's not me." And we all knew that it wasn't her; it was somebody else. Hi, Teresa. Um, yeah, her voice did change, very demonic. Um, and especially at night is when she, like, during that psychic hours, I guess you'd call, is when she really became herself. Well, if there was men working, I would always make sure there's a female on my shift working, because what she'll do is, what she did is she would dress naked. And if you ever see those prison toilets that are connected to the sink, the toilets are, so she'd get up there on top of the sink, turn that water on, and let the water spray her in the butt or the back there, where she's sitting there naked. And I would not go, and none of us, and then the males would go check on her because she was naked. I mean, this has to be a female. And the girl had some, I felt it was more than, mental illness, because being how she got up on that fence, hanging on her pinky like that, to this day, I still know it was demonic. Um, yeah, it was very crazy. And then another time, one of my coworkers, I think now he's a supervisor, but at the time he was a coworker. We were working a shift together. Well, we had another girl that came in. We didn't know much about her, but she was on one of the closer cells up to this clinic, closer up to the pod. Hi, Christy. And so, anyway, he said he went in, and I remember I was sitting down because I was ready. I was on checks that day. Well, he goes in there, and I think he was cleaning out the cell for the night so we can get ready to leave our shift. Well, anyway, he went in there, and he came out as white as a ghost. But he went in there, and her voice changed, and it was like a man's voice. Like, he said there was no way a girl could project that voice. And I can't remember what he said to her. Well, she responded back, and it really freaked him out. So he walked out backwards, and I never seen this guy look scared in my life, and he's a big guy. Well, during that time when he was in there, the lights up on the pod started blinking, and I remember looking up at it, and I'm like, "What?" But the other part of the rest of the jail wasn't blinking, just that part of the pod. Well, when he came out, and I told him that, and I said, "Yeah, there's something. I wouldn't want to go back in that cell tonight. That's another weird, wacky thing going on there. I don't trust. No way." When we get kids that used to come in there a lot, I mean, some kids do have mental problems, but then you have kids that do bring in the dark stuff and I do believe that when some of these kids have been, whether they be molested, um, you know, abused physically, or emotionally, or even neglected really bad, that it's almost like they're just so depressed that they let everything go, and that's easy for the demonic to jump in. Um, and I've heard adults jails are similar to what when I went when we went through it at the U jail. That still happens with some of the adults. You can ask anybody that's a police officer or mostly a correctional officer. They'll always tell you something about something really weird or paranormal going on in that jail. Whether they believe it or not, they won't. They may or may not talk about it. I could, Marianne. I could write a book about it. Well, Marianne, they did have spiritual help for the kids. They had a pastor that come in once a week that did church and that would sit there and talk with them if the kids chose to go to church. It wasn't their. It was a right, but it was also a privilege. So they were offered. Even the kids on segregation were offered to sit with the pastor if they wanted to. But good part, Marjorie. She was on solitary confinement because she couldn't get along with the other kids. The other kids, I think our administrators. I can't remember why she was on there. I think she was salted to stuff. That's why she was put on there, or she was. Once you get restrained, you get on administrative segregation. So I think she might have been restrained for something. But or she was there also mostly for her protection. But that place wasn't for her. And I remember even telling my supervisor and my administrator, we should not have her here. There's something wrong with her. Well, what happened was the licensing came through, and he was looking through the cells and asking he knew something was up with that girl. And when he found out this girl's, her past and what was going on, my administrator got in trouble for that. It's like we shouldn't be having those kids there. So I don't know if she ever had any more of those kind of kids. Oh, no, in fact, she did, and I don't want to get into it. But yeah, we had another kid with a brain issue that she allowed to be in there, and that kid almost busted down a steel door between the jail and the courtyard, and that was scary. But yeah, it should never have those kind of kids in that kind of place because when I was working there, we're not trained to work with those kind of kids. We're just mostly trained to work with kids that are in jail. We're not trained with working with the mental health like that. We're not professionals. Yeah, Marjorie, what they did release her, and I think she went to the women's prison because she assaulted the cop. No, she went to the Warm Springs here, which was like a mental hospital. But I think somewhere along the line, she kept assaulting people, and they brought her up to the women's prison when she was 18. So I don't know what happened to her after that. I don't know how long if she's there, what happened to her. I don't want to run into her. That girl scared me. She was a creepy girl, and I hated working that shift when she was there because it was like, oh great, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to, she didn't scare me. It was just more of a headache and a bother for me. Like I didn't. She was draining, and then even though she didn't talk to you, you always felt drained. Me and my supervisor walked in there one time, and we were going in there to clean out cells for the night. We clean out their cells, and I was standing by the door while she was going around grabbing her stuff around her. Well, that girl had a big orange, and she looked at me, and she had this smile on her face. Well, she threw that orange so hard it left a big knot on my chest. Um, yeah, we didn't restrain her, but I was like, I don't trust that girl. Like, very unpredictable, very assaultive. Some of those, when I worked there, there was a girl there. She was very religious in her own belief, but she didn't put her belief on other people. But the kids wanted to pray or wanted to talk about God. She would always be the good person to go in. That's what she was very knowledgeable, and many times she's helped a lot of kids that way, which I was always grateful that she was there because that she helped a lot of kids go through some stuff that was going on. One kid was crying because he was all upset because he kept having all these nightmares every night. He kept seeing something. He knew he was being tortured by something, and he couldn't explain it. So this staff would go in there, and she went and talked to him and taught him how to pray. And he was actually have for the first time he's actually had good night's sleep, and he was always thankful for that. So that was good. So if I had a blind date and it was her, I wouldn't date. I would remember that face. I wouldn't. No, trust me. No, thank you. I feel sorry for anybody that has a blind date with that girl. Hopefully, somewhere along the line, she got exorcised. That demon, I knew it was a demon inside of her. There was something really bad with that girl. There's a part of you that feels sorry for her, but then there's a part of you that just hopes that she's doing okay. Yeah, jail. You have to have a certain personality to work in that field. You can't just go into a jail and think you can do it. There's a lot of people that think that they can go in and save the world with these kids, or No, it's not. It's not. And then they figure out you can't save everybody. You can't. That's some of those people that get too involved in that can end up getting burnt out quick too. I've been burnt out numerous times in that job, numerous over and over. It's not an easy job. I wouldn't tell people to do it unless they have that personality to do it. Some people that do social work, they usually find themselves in that kind of field, and I think this field's worse than social work actually. But I don't. I retired from that. I will never go back to that work though. I did love it. I love working with the kids. The kids, I've learned a lot from the kids. It's just the way the administrative was running the place, and I wasn't. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It could be set. It could be run a lot better, in my opinion. But it's run out of a way of control and just a lot of personality stuff going on there, and I couldn't do it anymore. Is there a way you can calm them or fool them? These people walk the streets with me. Yeah, I think so, Shelly. But some of these people, especially that girl, I think that had that possession with her. There's no way you could calm that girl. Trust. I mean, we all tried. Everybody's tried something different with her, and she wouldn't even look at us. She had nothing to do with us. I do feel sad for a lot of those kids because the demonic the demonic takes advantage of anything. I mean, if you look at it, if you look at a wounded animal, and you look at a wolf's going to go, they're not going to have empathy for a wounded animal. They're going to eat it. That's what I kind of look at when I see the demonic. And that's why we got people with narcissism, because that it's the same thing. Those kids were either abused, neglected, or something bad happened to them. And from my readings, all my readings kept saying it's a Jezebel demon, and that usually jumps into somebody, and that's why they have that knowledge, and that's why they're so calculative. It's not human behavior. It's not normal behavior. Now people can argue with me and say, well, it's more of a what do you call it, psychiatric thing, or maybe it's this or that. Well, that's fine. I'm just telling you what I'm saying with my own readings. I've been told my readings of what a narcissist is, and I've had my experience with narcissists, so I know it's demonic. I've had, I don't like them. I hate them. I mean, if I have to say the word hate, and I don't hate much people, but if I'm around a narcissist, I will hate them. I don't want nothing to do with them. And because I know what their whole game is to snare you in, to play you, and to use you, and to divide you from people that you love. Well, thank you. Yeah, so if you're a registered nurse, you've probably seen a lot of crazy stuff too, I'm sure. So sorry, I'm not on Facebook. I got in trouble. I got in an argument with somebody, and I got kicked off for a week. So that was my fault. I'll own up to it. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Marjorie's saying her pastor told her about a few exorcisms. My dad, I never really talked to him too much, but I guess he would do exorcisms. He's a pastor, and he would exorcise people on the church. I never seen it. I've heard him do it, but I would love to see something like that, but I've never seen it. Shelly's asking, do narcissistic people hate others like them? I'll be real with you, Shelly. Um, Narcissistic people will always, how like attracts like. If you find a narcissistic person, they always have other narcissistic friends. It's And if you ever notice that, they always seem to sympathize with other people that are like them. If you hate a narcissist and that person that in your relationship is a narcissist, they will always defend them. And I've seen it all the time. It's like attracts like. They relate to them. Well, thanks, Valerie. Yeah, it's fall in Montana right now. Most of my trees around here have all leaves have most of all fallen down. Marjorie, a narcissist does have amazing strength, and I'll tell you what, you don't want to confront a narcissist and try to get the demon out of them because they will fight like hell. Because when you expose a narcissist, you're exposing that demon in them. and they don't want that. Demons like to hide. They don't. Their biggest thing is they want to hide and cause all this drama and and scare you and use you and divide you and all that stuff. That's what they do. But they want to hide at the same time. They don't want people to know they're around. And that's what the same thing with narcissists. They are the wicked witch, and they have their flying monkeys do all their dirty work, while they'll stand back and act like they don't know what you're talking about, and turn it on you to make it look like you're the wicked one, you're the nutty one. Yeah, I dealt with them all. I Mary says, "Goodness, weird stuff." Yeah, the night shift is I think is the worst shift to work on. I've done the night shift at that jail when I first started, the first few years, and it was crazy. Yeah, there was some crazy. Yeah, and we couldn't. The good thing about working the night shift is that you didn't. We're not allowed to open the cells unless we call the administrator for something. But it still creeped me out. You'd always have these weird nightmares about that place. Oh, an exorcism. Yeah, Marjorie. Yeah, a demon's a demon, whether it be inside of a narcissist or inside a person. There's different demons. There's different levels of demons. The narcissist demon is called the Jezebel demon, and people who've encountered the narcissist demon, hi Shirley, will experience. If you look at the narcissist, their eyes will turn red. Sometimes people will say that mask is slipping. You can see the demon coming out. So Mary's asked. Let's see. Yeah, it's better to walk away. You don't want married. Sandy says she was married to one for 21 years. Yeah, just walk away. It's not even worth the fight with those guys. So, Marianne, well, she asked him, what is it with nights? Yeah, nightmares. It's because it's considered the psychic hours between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. It's the nighttime. These things, earthbound spirits, the dark stuff, malevolent spirits, usually come out. It's that energy. They like to hide in dark. They like to scare people in the dark. The light always wins the dark. We all know that. But yeah, they like to hide. That's why they do what they do. Like Karen. Yeah, we're all humans. We do make mistakes, Tracy. I agree. But oh my phone's on 15%. Sorry. So yeah, well, everybody makes mistakes. But if you're like one of those kind of persons, people that enjoy constantly causing drama, dividing your loved ones in a family, standing back and laughing about it, having your loved ones fight against each other and acting like, and then pointing the finger at you, saying that you're the crazy one, you're the evil one. Yeah, and when they're the ones that are doing it all. Yes, I believe the narcissistic person is possessed. That's that demon. That a narcissistic person has a demon in them, and that demon hides. I mean, what is it called? Can't think of the word now. It just um, hibernates in them. But when it's ready to come out is when it's ready to. You'll see it when it's ready to scheme or when it's angry. That's when that demon will come out. I don't like looking in mirrors either, Marianne. Mirrors can be portals to the other side. Um, I don't like looking in mirrors in the dark because I think when you look in the mirror at the dark, I don't like looking at myself in the dark in the mirror because I just feel like my face is going to be distorted, so I don't do it. And I have one across from my bed, so I usually ignore it when I'm laying in bed. Teresa, I think that was a Facebook post, not on my page, but I think it was like on one of those other sites. I got in an argument with somebody, and I probably got in trouble, and that's what got me in trouble. I'm very open mouthed about stuff, and that's what gets me in trouble at times, and that's what I did. So I shouldn't have said certain things, but I did. Thank you, about you too. was one of my old houses. I was laying in bed, and there was a mirror across the room from me, and I don't know why. I remember I just kept seeing a swirling in this mirror, and I thought it was my imagination. So I looked away, and then when I looked back, I could still see that swirling. Well, what I didn't know was that I was by doing that, by I guess looking in that mirror, I guess, and I don't know why, but I must have, I think I was opening up a portal. Thanks, Marianne. Yeah, I don't hold back. I'm very upfront, and I think that's what gets me in trouble. Thank you, Billy Joe. Yeah, I don't know where I get that from. I don't know if I get it was because I was raised in a town, an Irish Catholic town. I don't know if it's because I'm part Italian or just my Indian side. I don't know. Um, but I think I get a lot from my mom. My dad's very passive, but my mom, when she was alive, she was very confrontive, and she tells you how it was. I think that's where I get it from. And plus, working at that jail all those years, so many kids always lying to you, always manipulating you. So you just learn, just go, just say how it is. You just get tired of people's bull crap. People online. That's what gets me mad. Is I think that's what got me in trouble. Is I was catching people online making up stuff or something, and I just told them how it was, and I probably said more than I should have, and that's what got me in trouble. And it's just I get tired of people lying. I get just it's like it's irritating. It's like you don't need to be lying. What I want to do is I don't know if I'll be able to do this year. Maybe if I can look ahead of time, maybe next year around this time, I'm gonna look for places that are haunted, and take this camera with. I mean, take this phone with me and go and do readings in a house and see if people can pick up anything what they're seeing. I was thinking about that today. What they're seeing in the video as I'm going through a building that's haunted. Now, the town I live in, I don't think there's many. I'm sure there are places haunted, but I don't know about. Even in Billings, Montana, there's I don't know everybody that would allow me to go in there and do that. I know if I were to go to my hometown in Butte, there are some places haunted there, and I'm sure people that I know there could let me to go and do an investigation, and I would carry this camera and have people, go with me as I'm doing it. So Marjorie said she heard Indians are more psychic. I don't. That may be true. I know that this stuff does run in our blood. I know where I get mine from. I get mine from my mom's side. She was part Native, so I know that's really strong within me, and that's why it's always healing what I do. Yes, mirrors is a thing. I totally agree with you. I don't do not ever dabble in mirrors. Don't. In fact, I would suggest don't even look in the mirrors at night because from my experience, when I looked in that mirror and I was seeing a portal, I think I was opening up subconsciously, and I didn't know I was doing it, and that was a long time ago. So I would tell people don't look in the mirror at night. Don't look in mirrors at night. You might see something and it might scare you, and you'll get that fear. Who knows? That's something. If there's something in that mirror, it's going to feed off your fear. Yeah, my mirror's across. I have another mirror. It's across from my bed. I don't look at it at night. If I turn around, I just look at it really, if I for a second, and I don't look into it anymore. I don't. Those things kind of creep me out. Yeah, Marjorie, you can join me. What I'm talking about is like I would go live, like I'm doing right now, and I would go into a building or a house that's haunted, and and you guys can see around me or in front of me what you guys are seeing, and I would do the reading and see what you guys would say, what you're seeing. That's what I want to do. And I just thought about that today because I know it's getting close to Halloween. I mean Halloween, but I don't think there's anybody that's going to let me do that around here anyway. I think I have to probably go to my own hometown to do it. Oh, the Sharon Tate thing. Yeah, Marjorie. Here's the thing about that one. You know the whole thing about that the Charlie Manson murders were scary. I mean, that's just all demonic. You know, obviously everybody knows that's demonic. The which that poor girl, she was the last one to be murdered. She watched every one of her friends get murdered, and she was the last one. Um, and they tortured her, and when they tortured her and she died at that moment, her soul was never at rest. So I was watching a thing on TV one time when I guess they tore down the old Tate house. I mean, the Sharon Tate's old house, and this guy built up a new house, and on that foundation of that house, it said that her soul is always there. And he took a picture, and you could see Sharon Tate's spirit, but she's also pregnant in that, like she's wearing that nightgown and she's pregnant, and that tells me that she never crossed over, and that even though that baby might, I believe the baby did go to heaven, but because she's earthbound, she's always going to look like that, and she's always going. I think she doesn't know why. I think that she's confused and she's stuck, and I wish that there would be a medium there that could help that poor girl cross over. Um, and I got when I watched that video. I mean, for me, I empathize with those spirits. I do. Like she probably doesn't even know who Charlie Manson is. She probably doesn't even know why she was murdered. So like you would understand why she would be stuck there. Um, I guess and it's just when I was watching that video and it showed that picture of her in that nightgown and her belly's so big. I mean, my heart went out to her. So Michelle is saying, what is the best way to protect yourselves when doing readings, and when do, when done readings, how do we end the readings and have energy stuck with us? So Michelle, I would say the best thing to do is pray before you do a reading and ask God's permission to allow you to do it. Always use Jesus or the Holy Spirit's name. And when you're done, close it and say thank you to God and thank you for His protection. If you ever watch me how I do it, that's how I do it. Now you do get drained a lot from if you're working with this kind of. If you're doing readings, you're always getting drained. I don't have the secret not to be not to. I don't have that yet. I'm learning still, but what I do is I take that time for me. I'll go drink some coffee. I'll take a nap. I might meditate, but that's the time for me that I got to slow down, and it's for me. I get very drained. I do. Thanks, Marjorie, for coming. Yeah. When even with the what? Here's something else that that I was thinking about this the other day too. Um, the Amityville whorehouse. Okay, you remember that? You remember that story up in Amityville? And the people that lived there were a good family. I don't know how much battery time I have, so I'm just gonna talk until it runs out. I hope it gives me some time. But anyway, anyways, the family that lived there, the dad was supposedly abusive to his wife and the kids, and something in the house, it also, something in the house, something happened where the dad got kind of creeped out and started going to other places to get these big statues, religious statues, put in his yard. And I think a priest told him that he had to do that, and that's what he did. But they still had things going on in there, and supposedly there's different theories going on with that because there was an Indian burial ground prior to that. And that house is on. Another thing is that there was a man that was doing witchcraft back in the days where they were hanging witches, and he got killed there. So that could be part of that as well. So there's all this energy that's been in that house. So, of course, if you're going to have a kid that's an unstable kid that is that has emotional problems or unstable, that the demonic will influence those people. Sorry about the train. It will influence those people, and sorry, my dog will influence those people, or make them try to commit suicide. Well, the demonic did just do that, and he killed everybody in that family. Well, according to the neighbors, they never heard any gunshots, which is really weird. Um, they had a priest. So the whole family died, and the guy, he's in prison for life because he murdered his whole family, as you know. And then a family called the Lutz moved in. Well, according to the son, who's an adult now, he said that his dad would practice this, would meditate, and when he meditate, he was working with some kind of something spiritual because things would levitate, and move around. And it was just really weird. The dad was practicing or dabbling in something he wasn't supposed to be doing. So if you can imagine all that energy built up in that house, it's like a powder keg just ready to go off. And that's why they had that big poltergeist in that house. All that weird stuff going on, and a lot of it's what I believe. A lot of what they were talking about is true. I do believe that exactly what happened there. Um, now there's a lot, I guess people that moved in after that, and they say nothing's happened, which is possibly true. But I think it's because the energy that was brought back in that house, that the energy right after somebody died. In fact, those beds that oh, I got low battery. Sorry. So, anyways, the beds that were in that house, the people were still sleeping on those beds where those people were murdered on. All the furniture was still there, so you have all the energy still left there. So that's going to cause a poltergeist and everything else in that house. Um, so yeah, that is crazy. And when you look into that stuff, and then people, there's a theory where they're saying, well, the Lusts were trying to get out of their mortgage. Well, that could be possibly true, part of it. But the son that was the son that's a man, I was watching a video about him. He was talking about that, and he goes, that was part true, but the majority of what happened in that house really did happen. Um, there's just just so creepy. And that little girl in that bedroom, she would talk to a pig face, which was a demon. And I remember what the name, but the girl, but and the mom walked in, and she would see that rocking chair moving, and nobody would be on it. And so when she looked out the window, she really did see that pig face. So there was always something, that house. I would never move into a house. If I've known that there was that kind of murder in a house like that, or even at the Tate house, if it was still there, I would not move into it. Only because there's unrest, all the energy there. It could be because of a spirit wanting to get revenge or stuck. It could be because there's demonic. Usually, when there's like a murder or mass murders in one place, it opens up a portal for the demonic to come. I know you guys are talking. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to read some of this because I know my phone's going to go off in a minute. It's low battery. But yeah, I find that stuff interesting. I would never want to do an investigation in a house like that, though, especially the Enemyville whorehouse. I would not want to go there and do an investigation. There's no way I would do it. I'm a medium, and I'd be afraid that I would be jumped or something would happen to me, and I don't want that stuff happening to me. And I'm going to talk probably another time, maybe next Wednesday on here about this old brothel. There's an old brothel in my old hometown. It's the longest running brothel in the United States, and Evil Knievel would frequent there, even though he was married. And there was a story behind that as well. And every time I would go there, there would always be something paranormal happening to me every time I went there. And I want to go back there and bring you guys live with me when I go back home one of these days, and see if you guys can pick up anything as well. It's an interesting place. It's very. It's got, I think I can't remember if it was 8 or 9 spirits that were in there, women spirits that are prostitutes, and I think some men. There's a couple men spirits there. I think one's a demon, but it's a very thick energy in there. Yes, I'll still do readings on Sundays, but I have to do it on here because I'm banned for until next Wednesday. So if one of you guys can do me a favor on my Facebook page, just tell them I got in trouble because I opened up my mouth. No, don't just say that I'm in Facebook jail, and that I will do live readings on YouTube at this time. If you guys could do that, that'd be great. Because I can't post nothing now for a whole week, which sucks. And then you think I've learned my lesson from keep my mouth shut? I never do though. It's just who I am. Yeah, I got banned because I got in an argument with somebody this time, and this time I own up to it. I probably said too much than I should have said, and I probably got. That's why I got in trouble. Yes, I've been a bad boy this week. I'm gonna own up to it. I'm not gonna lie. It's just drama, and I should have just shut my mouth when I should have. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, it's just dumb, and I learned my lesson. I hope this time. I don't. Maybe not. But I will do free readings on this page. That's why I started this YouTube page so that I can always come back here and do this in case I get banned from Facebook again. Okay, I'll try to be more careful. Maybe I'll just stop fighting with people on there. All right, you guys, my phone's going dark, so I think it's time for me to go. But thanks for you guys coming. Thanks for letting me talk about stuff. But let everybody know on Facebook. I'll be there next Wednesday, but I'll be here doing live readings on here. All right, you guys take care. Bye bye.